Okay, today we're looking at a commentary transcript from the Storybox. It's analyzing a video Donald Trump reposted, and the author's take is that it's a direct shot at people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, especially over the whole Erica Kirk situation. It's a piece with a lot of fire.
A whole lot of fire.
So let's jump right in. A key theme here is this idea that Trump is purging bad faith actors. But the commentary, well, it weakens its own main point by getting lost in some unrelated conspiracy.
Right off the bat, yeah.
As I understand it, the whole argument is that Trump's rejecting people like Owens and Carlson. But then the speaker just takes this hard left turn into the Epstein file and Kevin Rudd resigning as ambassador. You're trying to follow the logic about Trump telling Candace to, quote, shut the F up, and suddenly you're wondering if an Australian diplomat is on the Epstein list. It feels like stream of consciousness, and it breaks the whole flow of the argument about Erica Kirk.
It's a classic shiny object problem. You see it all the time. The writer is so deep in the lore that in their head, everything connects to everything else. You know, it's all one big web of corruption.
Right.
But for the listener, it's like someone is just flipping channels on you. I think this is where you have to apply the kill your darlings principle. The entire goal here is to prove a very specific political break between Trump and these influencers.
And every single sentence has to be working towards that one goal.
Exactly. And when you bring in something as big as the Epstein list, that's not just a shiny object. That's a black hole. It just sucks all the argumentative gravity away from the main story about Erica Kirk.
So the listener's thinking, wait, what does Rudd have to do with Owens? Is he part of the Daily Wire now? And the script doesn't explain it.
It just throws it out there. So the suggestion, you have to cut it.
The whole thing?
The whole thing. It's a tough edit, I get it, but it's necessary. The Kevin Rudd section just muddies the water. It confuses the timeline, it confuses the motive. Unless the author has proof, like a smoking gun, that directly links Rudd's resignation to Candace Owens trying to track Charlie Kirk's schedule, it's just noise.
I can see why they'd hesitate, though. I mean, the Epstein stuff it's super high engagement material. It feels important.
It is important, but it's the wrong kind of importance for this argument. If the author absolutely must keep it, then they have to explicitly connect it. Like, they'd have to show that Owens or Tucker are weaponizing those files against Trump's allies. And that link just isn't there in this draft.
So take that time and put it somewhere else.
Yes. Use that time to give us more detail on the so-called bad faith actions from the Hodge twins or from Tucker. Give them the same level of detail you gave Candace Owens. That reinforces the argument instead of distracting from it.
Okay, so let's move from the structure to the actual language being used. The commentary makes a really strong defense of Erica Kirk, but I think the impact gets diluted because it relies so heavily on, well, insults instead of actual evidence.
Emotive language.
Yeah, I mean, the speaker is using terms like imbecilic dingbat, working for the devil, demonic spirit.
Fake individual.
Right. There's even a point where they call her Candy Freaking Owens and say she's holding a demonic spirit. And look, that definitely tells you the speaker is angry. The passion is there. But what does it do for the credibility?
It tanks it. It lowers the whole analytical level of the piece.
It turns a serious political fight into, like you said earlier, a playground shouting match. And you risk losing any listener who's maybe on the fence or who just wants to understand the facts.
It really is the difference between preaching to the choir and, actually converting a skeptic. If you already can't stand Candace Owens, hearing her called a dingbat probably feels pretty good. It's cathartic.
Sure.
But if you're a neutral person just trying to figure out what's going on, that kind of language is a huge red flag for bias. It signals the speaker has lost all their objectivity.
And it also changes what you're arguing about, doesn't it? When you say someone is holding a demonic spirit, you've moved from political analysis into, well, spiritual warfare. And that's a lot harder to prove.
Exactly. You can prove someone sent a tweet. You can't prove they're possessed. So the opportunity here is to shift the tone, move away from that combative, angry feel to something more like an authoritative deconstruction. You have to trust that the facts are damning enough on their own.
So how do you actually rewrite that? Because the anger is real, and you don't want to just strip out all the passion and make it sound like a robot.
Okay, so let's workshop that. Give me a concrete example.
All right, take the Candy Freaking Owens line. Instead of that, you focus only on the specific action the author mentioned, that she's literally crowdsourcing a dead man's schedule to try and implicate his grieving widow.
Which is pretty shocking on its own.
It's inherently shocking. It needs no adjective. So you frame the critique like this. The tactic of soliciting public tips to reconstruct a deceased man's timeline is an invasion of privacy that crosses a professional line. See? That lands way harder than dingbat. It sounds like a judgment, not just an insult.
Yeah, it sounds like a verdict. Judicial. I like that.
Right. And you do the same thing for Tucker Carlson. The script kind of mocks him for feeling safe in Qatar. Instead of just mockery, you contrast his old rhetoric with his current actions. You say something like, the contradiction between his past platform on Western values and his current praise for Qatar reveals an inconsistency in his stated principles. That's an argument. He's a fake individual is just, an assertion. One wins a debate, the other just starts a fight.
Okay, let's dig into the core piece of evidence here. The video itself. The whole argument seems to hinge on a speculative leap between Trump's repost and the Erica Kirk situation, and that bridge feels a little weak.
The weak link in the chain, for sure.
The source material just flat out says that Trump's repost of this Dilly Meme Team video is a direct message to Candace Owens. It says, this is Trump essentially telling Candace to shut up. But if you actually look at the video's content, it's just general political messaging.
Standard MAGA content, yeah.
It's about remembering the bad times under Biden, the border, fuel prices. It's a hype video. The idea that it's a specific message about an investigation into the Kirk family is, well, it's a complete inference. It's not explicit at all.
And that's the problem. A skeptic looks at that and says, how do you know it's about Candace? And right now the script's only answer is, because I said so.
And that's where you lose trust with your audience. If you tell them Trump is saying X, but they watch the video and he's clearly saying Y, they're going to stop trusting your analysis.
You can't gaslight them into seeing something that isn't there. The way to fix this is to just acknowledge that it's an interpretation, or build a much, much stronger bridge with more context. If you just admit it's a theory, the audience is actually more likely to come along with you because you're being honest.
So how do you build that bridge? The author obviously thinks the timing is everything.
Then lean into the timing, but use careful language. Use a bridging phrase, something like, while the video is a general call for unity, its timing, posted right after Owens' latest attack on Kirk, suggests a targeted subtext.
Suggests a targeted subtext. I like that. It's not forcing it down their throat.
Right. It invites the listener to agree instead of demanding that they submit. And then you should analyze the part of the video that does fit the theory. The script mentions the line, do you remember the symbols of tyranny? Okay, so explain why that line contradicts what Owens and Carlson are doing. Make the argument. Are they behaving like the tyrants the video warns about? Spell it out. Don't just quote the video and hope people connect the dots.
There's another structural thing. The script mentions way at the end that Trump is very close with Erica Kirk. That feels like it's buried.
Oh, that's a huge missed opportunity. That needs to be the foundation of the whole argument. Move it up. Start by establishing Trump's personal loyalty to Erica Kirk. If you set the stage that he's protective of her, then when the video drops, the audience is already primed to look for that connection. You have to give the jury the motive before you show them the weapon.
That's a great point, and it leads right into our next bit of feed, which is about how the targets are defined. The line between the external enemy, the left, and these new internal bad faith actors it's really muddy.
Very muddy.
The speaker makes a point of saying Trump is not criticizing the left, but people on the right, a wolf in sheep's clothing argument. But then the transcript immediately blurs that line by talking about Joe Biden autopen administration and the borders being invaded. So it creates this confusion. Who are we supposed to be mad at? Biden for causing the problems? Or Owens and Carlson for disrupting the solution? It bounces back and forth between them, sometimes in the same sentence.
It gives the listener whiplash. You're there nodding along about the border crisis, and then boom, you're being asked about a Candace Owens podcast. It feels like two totally separate conversations.
And it undermines the point about why Owens is supposedly so dangerous. If she's just bad like Biden, fine. But the author's point is that she's worse, right? Because she's an enemy inside the gates.
I think the key here is contrast. The author's treating these as two separate complaints, but they're not. They're competing narratives. The real argument isn't just that Owens is bad. It's that she is a distraction from the main fight against Biden. The real lens here should be betrayal.
Betrayal, okay. That's a much stronger hook than just disagreement.
Right, so you structure the commentary to contrast the actions of these internal critics with the results of the Biden administration. You say it explicitly. Trump's video reminds us of the external battle against the Biden legacy, which is what makes the internal sabotage by Owens and Carlson so much worse. That links the two ideas.
So you use the Biden stuff as a backdrop.
You use it as a backdrop to show why the internal fight matters so much. So when the video says, "Do you remember watching our nation get systematically destroyed?" You don't just leave it there. You immediately follow up with, and Owens and Carlson are distracting from the work of rebuilding it. You weaponize that nostalgia against your specific targets.
Okay, one last piece on this. The author uses the phrase incitement of violence about Owens. That's a really heavy term.
It's a legal term. You can't just throw that around.
Right. So to make that claim stick and to really separate her from normal political opposition, the author has to back it up.
You have to. The text mentions she was crowdsourcing Charlie Kirk's schedule. So the feedback here is to frame that action very specifically. Don't just say incitement. Say something like, this isn't free speech. Soliciting the location of a deceased man is harassment that invites physical danger. That clarifies the distinction. The left opposes the policy. This bad faith actor is endangering the person. That line has to be razor sharp.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. We've hit on a lot of points about credibility and structure today. So, to recap the feedback, first, tighten that narrative focus. That means using the kill your darlings rule on the Epstein and Kevin Rudd stuff. If it doesn't directly prove the Trump-Owens split, it has to go.
Right.
Second, elevate the tone. Swap out the ad hominem insults, the dingbats, and demonic language for evidence-based takedowns. Let the facts be the weapon.
Let their own actions condemn them.
Third, build that logical bridge. We need to clearly connect the general meme video to the specific Erica Kirk conflict. Use better language about the timing and don't present your theory as absolute fact.
Be honest with the audience.
And finally, clarify your targets. Frame the internal critics not just as opponents but as betrayers who are distracting from the main fight. Show why what they're doing is uniquely damaging.
Absolutely. Passion is a great engine, and this piece has a ton of engine. The anger, the conviction, it's all there. But logic is the steering wheel. And without that steering wheel of a tight structure and disciplined arguments, that powerful engine just drives the whole thing straight into a ditch. I'd really encourage the author to step back, strip away the name-calling, and just let the cold, hard facts speak for themselves. Refine it, tighten it, and send it back in. We love to see the next version.
Thank you for tuning in to this session of The Critique. We look forward to hearing the next draft.